Hey, this is Phoenix, and I'm here with my friend Wendy. We're going to be talking about my upcoming Embodied Alchemy course that starts this week.
Hi, I'm Wendy Jasper, and I've had the pleasure of dancing with Phoenix in both, doing a workshop here in New Zealand where I am, as well as doing the first week of the Dancing Freedom training last year in Australia. And I've got a hat on where I'm a coach and mentor for creatives, and I was very excited and honored that Phoenix asked me to come on board today, this call, so I can talk with her and ask her some questions about the embodied alchemy. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So first of all, I'm going to be devil's advocate. I'm going to ask there's no such thing as a stupid question, but that's what I'm going to try and ask her, the questions that I get when I know sometimes when I come onto these groups or come onto these offerings, and it can feel awkward. You don't quite understand sometimes the wording used or what they're talking about. And you sort of got an energetic, like, I feel this is something right. I feel like this is something I really want to do, but I'm intellectually not quite getting it. So that gets in the way of me saying yes to something which has potential to really heal and help me be who I want to be in the world. So that's where I'm coming on with my questions. So the first question I want to ask you is just the wording itself, embodied alchemy. I'm saying this and I'm looking at the event, and the graphics look beautiful and the words sound beautiful, but it's almost like something beyond meaning. Embodied alchemy. What does it actually mean to you?
Thanks for asking. Yeah, it's something for me that really actually lights me up. It's so embodiment is one of my favorite things to be sharing in the world, and also it's one of my passions for actually learning to be myself and learning to reconnect to the natural world. And so that sense of alchemy is that this understanding that we're like these witches and wizards inside this laboratory, kind of working with these different chemical compounds, which are the elements in this case, and we're like over our cauldron, like putting a little bit of this in, putting a little bit of that in, to literally like refine these raw materials into something really exquisite and really pure. So that sense of alchemy is just with this deeper understanding that transformation is available to us through this cauldron, this vessel, which is the body.
But yeah. And you say the word embodiment. Like, to me, what that brings to mind is being in my body. Whereas I know I spend so much of my time intellectually in my head. I'm very much a thinker, planner, creator. So embodiment, like being in the body. How do you see that word?
Yeah, it's something that I've been really kind of talking about a lot lately, is that in so much of our world or our culture, there's been these like altars that we've created to the mind. Like there's just all these temples and altars that we've built to the mind, and the mind has so much cred, and yet the body is just this wise being. And it's just there's so much information available to us in every moment that we might not necessarily be able to understand with the mind. And so this idea of embodiment, or this connection to the body, is really diving deep into a dialogue, into a conversation, being able to listen to and work with and understand what the body is communicating to us at all times. Though it's really challenging to listen to the body if we're constantly up here in the mind. So as we bring our attention and our awareness down into the body, we actually have all of this information that's continuously available to us, while also it's reconnecting us to a larger web of connection, which is the natural world. Because if you think about it, all of animals and nature and the different creatures of nature, like they're not up here in their minds. They're all kind of on this level playing field in this web of connection. And yet somehow as humans, we have this tendency to be above nature. And so I feel like as we work with the body and we kind of connect into the body embodiment, that we actually reconnect to this natural web of connection, so we can be these equal players, these equal co-creators with the natural world, as well as our fellow human beings, because we're coming from this whole bodied perspective rather than this like very limited perspectives of the mind.
Ah, beautiful. And it actually, as you're saying that, I remember the first time, yeah, I danced with you, which was probably going, what, 4 years ago now. And one of the things that struck me was how much you were so in your body, you were moving your body, but you were still very present. And for me, my journey of dancing was almost, I would disengage. I have to disengage the head to be able to move the body. And you had both sort of working, but there's also another layer to that. Is I see systematically, hugely in our society, is we aren't comfortable in our own skin. I know that, regardless where my weight has been as a being, I've never felt fully comfortable in my body, in my own skin. And there's been a lot of, appearance, how you look, that judgmentalness going on. And I know through doing the work with you and coming into my body more, that's so shifted.
Mm. Yeah, thank you. And one thing I wanna kind of emphasize when we talk about embodiment, it doesn't exclude the mind, because the mind is actually part of the body. And so when I say I kind of wanna, I'm in support. I'm an advocate of dismantling the altars we've built to the mind, because the mind actually distinguishes itself from the rest of the body. I'm interested in like creating grand temples for the whole body, where like all of us are welcome, where all of us are revered equally, all parts of ourselves, the mind included, because the mind is an equal player in this dance of life that we're all part of. So yeah, I just wanted to
Yeah, no,
kind of
that's great.
correct myself in that. And I'm not dissing the mind. I'm just saying like, let's bring the mind on board with the rest of ourselves. Yeah. And yeah, and the beauty, like what you're sharing, Wendy, about like our body image and connection to our body, and like how so much of our, yeah, like there's a tendency to stray away from the body. And one of those things that I'll say is that the body never lies. The body doesn't lie. And so it's like, if we've had trauma, if we've had uncomfortable experiences, if we've been, teased as a kid for the way that we look, it's almost like, it's painful, it's uncomfortable. The body is constantly relaying to us all of the discomfort, all of the insecurities, all of the traumas that are embedded inside of our bodies. And so it can be easier sometimes to just cut off from the body, because it's more comfortable, or it's less painful, to just avoid what's actually right here. And yet, all of us, I feel many of us have this desire to heal, and this desire to be fully expressed in the world. And the body, like I've already said, is we are in these bodies. Like these bodies are our keys to actually being fully expressed in the world. They carry all of us. And so the more we can actually focus on the body and learn to embrace all parts of ourselves, the beautiful parts, the shiny parts, the tarnished parts, the ugly parts, the uncomfortable parts, the crunchy gritty parts, like this is real self-love. This is real self-love. And from that place of real self-love, like that's what we get to paint the world with. That's how we get to treat our brothers and sisters. It's how we get to treat our lovers, our beloveds, our workmates, like the natural world. If there is like an avoidance of this and all of our parts that don't feel perfect, we're going to just be projecting that outward and never actually be engaging with the world from like a real heartful, engaged place. And so what I've experienced is the more and more I can learn to accept my body, whether it's my body shape or the parts that, the aches and the pains as I mature, or the information that is coming when I'm feeling sad or pissed off or afraid. And I can just learn to like wrap my arms around all those parts of myself. It's like I feel so much more confident walking through the world and engaging with other human beings, like being fully engaged and present with people, rather than kind of, I'm half here with you. And then the rest of me is kind of like judging all of these other things, judging you, judging me. It's like, no, I'm fully here. And because the body is always in the present moment, it's never in the past or the future. Like it's always right here in the now. And yeah, what a great spiritual practice, to just be in the body in the present moment with the people or the projects that we're engaging with in any moment. It's pretty cool.
Wow, that's just so beautiful hearing you talk about that. And I was just feeling so much more love for my body with just you talking then. And it's like learning how to be a human being a being in this human body. It's like so much of our childhood is disconnection, and we grow up being, yeah, these heads that walk around and so shame, insecurity, all these things, and
Mm.
learning how to reintegrate.
Yeah.
Truly beautiful.
Yeah, and like learning to have that compassion for ourselves, forgiving ourselves, like really opening our hearts to our own experience of being human, and how this so kind of how this translates to like engaging with the people outside of ourselves. It's like I can have more compassion for other people because it's like they're human just like me. Nobody's on a pedestal. Then it's not like, oh, you're just so great and so shiny and you're so perfect. Like, no, being human, it's the whole gamut. And so the more I can accept my own humanness, the more I can accept that in others. And for those of us who really want to make a difference in the world, and live in a world that's more connected and where we belong, I mean, this is the first key to building that bridge. And so I'm into bridge building through the body.
Ah, beautiful. So on that, is this course, are we going to be dancing? Is that what is it, movement, or is it, how does it what does it
Yeah.
look like?
Yeah, so we're not like putting music on and dancing like you would in a normal dance class. I'll send playlists out every week. So this class is mainly about like taking specific movement meditations and movement exercises to emphasize some of the qualities of each element that we'll be working with. So we'll be working each week with a particular element, starting with earth, water, fire, air, and space, ether. And so each week we have different movement meditations or embodiment practices that will focus on to really help people dive deeper into those elements. So for earth, we'll be working a lot with grounding and stability and presencing and allowing like the acceptance of what is here right now. With water, we'll be working with flow and fluidity, and like allowing our emotional body to be activated and present in our sexuality and our sensuality, and welcoming this into our body through movement and breath and sound. With fire, we'll be working on just clearing the space, activating our passion, activating our will, really engaging with our boundaries, our yes and our no, this like fierce part of ourselves that knows how to like navigate through the darkness. Yeah, because that's the fire. And so we'll be working on different activities and exercises and meditations to really engage those parts of ourselves. With air, we'll be working with a lot of breath and expansion and opening our hearts, and how do we bring these qualities of the elements into our body. Yeah, um so it's not just a concept. Yeah, and when we're dancing, it's beautiful to do it through dancing, and I love facilitating in that way through dancing. But with these particular courses, I'm really interested in like being kind of focused on the experiment within the alchemy, within the crucible that is this body. um so yeah, that's and so the structure of the class will be, because we're working with women, we'll be opening up with a circle and like sharing together, and I can talk a bit more about that, why I'm wanting to work with women in particular. But we'll have some sharing, some circling, and then we'll have some time for myself to really feed the mind with some really potent and juicy information about each element, so that people can really take it on and understand, because I really want people to like become really acquainted and really familiar with these elements as their allies, as their friends, yeah, as their tools. And then we'll dive into the embodiment pieces, and then we'll complete after that. So it's a bit of a wave of a class, of a session, where it feeds all of these different parts of our bodies, like so our mental body, our physical energetic body, our emotional body, this real holistic way of engaging the whole body with these other humans, because we're going on a journey for ourselves and together.
Ah, truly beautiful. I'm like, where do I sign up? So it starts this week.
Hmm. Yeah, it starts this
And
week.
and I'm sure you'll share the link down below.
Yeah.
Look, truly, it's beautiful. And one of the things I want to say, having worked with you and done in person um, connections and sacred space holding, I've only recently had the experience of doing it in an online space. And I have to admit, I would have argued black and blue that a women's circle online is going to not work. It's technology. It's not the same. We're not there in person. But truly, I've had my mind expanded that the online space for bringing women together and facilitating sacred growth is actually truly phenomenal, and it can work wonderful.
Yeah, I've been loving it. I've been loving it. And what it's really been also like dismantling my judgment around the online world. I'm getting to meet women from all over the world, like people that I wouldn't normally meet, or people that I wouldn't normally get to engage with or work with or learn from or share with. And second, it's like, we are so much more than the body as well, so we're talking about embodiment, that, and just like this recognition that we're also like, we are able to transmit energy and connection no matter what, no matter through what medium. It's like, and I feel like this time where everything has gone online as of recently, we've really been able to embrace that and acknowledge that a real energetic connection is possible via online or in person. It's energy is energy, transmission is transmission. Our hearts are infinitely vast, and so this, if anything, is giving us an opportunity to expand our capacity to really reach out, touch, and be touched.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Look, I feel that you brought that course really alive. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Yeah, and one thing that I also wanted to share that I said I would mention before we finish this call is just my reasoning for wanting to work with women, um, which for me has always been a bit edgy in the past. Like I never felt like I had really close connections to women in the past, and as of recently, in these past few years, I've just really been remembering the power and the potency of coming together with women. Like there's just so much stigma from my upbringing, from my cultural background, of like, women kind of competing, being in competition, and being catty, or not able to really find an aligned place of seeing one another, like from this equal playing field where we're here empowering and supporting one another. And recently, it's just like I feel like this is another one of the old paradigm programs that I'm so ready to dismantle with other women, because there's some power and potency in the sisterhood that I feel is such a key to, like, really birthing a new world, birthing a new culture where it is in this vein of love and compassion and connection and togetherness. And how do we as women, because we understand the trials, the tribulations, the experiences, because we're in female oriented bodies, yeah, how do we hold space for one another and allow our compassion to grow, to support and empower each other to move beyond our limitations and to step more deeply into our power and into our confidence, being held by this ancient sisterhood, that I feel together we can really mend the rifts. Because ultimately, men, they come and they go, relationships, they come and they go, and there's just something about welcoming our sisters deeply into our hearts, because that feels like a bond that is unshakable. And I'm interested in, yeah, fostering and nurturing and being a part of circles where, like, we sisters can work together and grow together and build together, and also welcome our brothers into that space of love and connection and receptivity, lead by example through doing the work together.
So beautiful. Totally. I know that I'm a better human when I'm deeply connected with my sisters, and it is this together we can rise. It's that connection, and I feel it when we connect with women that it's going ancient through my grandmother and great grandmother. There's the lineage that's the connection. It's like it brings all them to the presence as well as my
Mm.
sisters, and it really does feeling like that we're one. And there's such a power because it's often a thing that we don't have in our life. We can often go through our day-to-day life, week to week, month to month, where we're not in sacred space, in circle with women. And there is such a power when we come into that space that fuels us like nothing else I've ever experienced. So I totally
Mm.
understand. And
Yeah.
thank you for doing this work in the world.
My pleasure. I'm looking forward to meeting and journeying with the women over these next 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and seeing what magic we can co-create together. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with me here and assisting me and supporting me and in stepping in more and more into my brilliance and honoring those tender parts of myself that are still coming out. So yeah, thank you for being one of my allies on this journey.
Oh, it's been my honor and my pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, blessings. Thank you.